Welcome back, Wake-Last Wanderers. It's Robert, and today I want to talk about my Tornado Shot Crit Split Curse Ranger, which is another low-budget build. Of course, I'm always doing low-budget builds, and it's a combination, a merge of two very successful builds, which I think is how builds evolve these days. If you don't come up with a crazy idea, you basically pick the best things that you can see and merge them together to see if something successful comes out of it. And in my case it did. I took the ZGD's Tornado Shot Ranger with the fantastic puncture single target, the hardcore variant, and I took Tap-in White's Tornado Shot Ranger in softcore, which has like a shit ton of crit multiplier and crazy damage, and try to do something very similar to those builds but for low budget, because both Ziggy's and Tap-in White's characters are pretty expensive because of the gear they require. Tap-in has a very good bow and a corrupted quiver, and also uses a 6-link I think, and Ziggy has a 5-link or 6-link lightning coil, and I totally can't afford that. So let's jump into the game and see, look how my character turned out. And basically it only needs one unique, so that's the only thing you need to pay a little bit more money for, and that's the Infractem Decimation Bow. Infractem. Why did I choose this? Well, first of all, this bow has decent damage. It's not top damage, you can get a lot better, but it has arrows always pierce. This means this is basically the best thing you can get for Tornado Shot. Tornado Shot, if you remove this, fires one arrow. This arrow always pierces, and where you land, so you ground target the skill, there's a small explosion. The explosion deals no damage, but there are 3 other arrows that come out of the explosion in random directions. And if you link that with multiple projectiles, this has very good AoE and single target. And my mana is gone. Because you can hit an enemy like 4 times. So if you fire just behind the mob, then you hit the mob with the initial arrow, and then 3 of the other arrows can hit it. Or if you use GMP, maybe 4, or I'm not sure if 5 arrows can hit the target. Someone has actually to find that out. And with the pierce chance, so if you have a group of monsters and you shoot right into the pack, the arrows that spawn in the tornado, they will just stop at each monster and do damage. But if you have built-in pierce, then they will continue to spread out and hit other monsters as well, and you have a very good area coverage. Of course, you can use a pierce gem, and you can invest passive points into the pierce nodes, but with the Infractem, you can actually get more damage for less money, because you can use a 4-link with just Tornado Shot, LMP, physical projectile attack damage, and added fire, and you have crazy damage. If you get a 5-link, you add increased critical damage for crit multi, and everything explodes. Infractem, as I said, the damage. So if you look at the tooltip, it's 4K at the moment. This was the bow I used earlier. That's something I crafted for myself. So while I was leveling up my character, every 10 to 15 levels, I crafted a new bow for little money, and you see the difference. So if we check this out, this is 2.4, and that's 4K. So the difference is huge. The Asphyxia's Wrath is also a very nice item for this build, because it gives you a chance to freeze, and curses on slain enemies are transferred to a nearby enemy, so you only curse once, you kill a mob, and then the curse spreads. But this is absolutely not necessary. It's just a nice gimmick. I was using this quiver before, and the damage was actually a little bit higher, but I prefer to use Asphyxia's because of the freeze chance and the spread of the curse. For cursing, I'm using Split Arrow. So Split Arrow with faster attacks, curse on hit, and Assassin's Mark. And this means I don't have to cast the curse manually. It costs a lot of mana. 54 mana, I only have 106. I don't want to afford that, which is why I sacrifice a 4-link to create this. And with this I can curse a really large group of enemies very quickly, and even deal some damage to it. So mostly I freeze the mobs if I get a crit off them right away, so they're frozen just by cursing them, and then I finish them off with Tornado Shot. So to demonstrate how this works, I think we will just, oh no, I have a map prepared here. So let's Rogue Exiles, Poison on hit. Oh, that's not too bad. So let's put this in there. Come on. So, basic idea, curse, shoot, and everything dies. Soul Eater, okay, that one didn't die. And there's another nice thing that this build uses, and that's the two heralds. So I'm using Grace for defense, and the two herald skills as for offense. Because I went into maps, I was actually using Hatred for even more damage, but it's absolutely not necessary. You want the more survivability. This character uses On the Guile, so I have a very high chance to evade projectiles, and this means, oh, this guy. I never fought them before, I think. On the Guile, so you have a very high chance to evade projectiles, and this means you also evade your own projectiles in a reflect scenario. And with Hatred, this is very dangerous. With Grace, it's a joke. And the two Herald skills, they make it so that you add a lot of elemental damage to your physical damage, and while Herald of Ice gives you CC, crowd control, because you're freezing mobs, a Herald of Ash has this wonderful, wonderful overkill damage, and the overkill damage sometimes is totally sufficient to kill rares. So I hope you can find another rare here. Yeah, that was not the best example, so I had to puncture him to finish him off. Maybe there's another one, or we can demonstrate it with the boss, I guess. No, I will actually take that. Yeah, but as you see, you curse once and then you fire in the middle of the pack, and usually everything dies from a single hit. It's really, really funny. You have to be a little bit careful with physical reflect, that you don't kill yourself with the crazy crit, but there's also ways to get around that. So, champion packs, they die as quickly as trash mobs, and you have seen me fighting against two exiles before, so they also die relatively quickly. Okay, that one was punctured again. Not getting too lucky with my rare kills just from Herald of Ash. But I've seen it happening so many times. I curse, fire tornado shot, then I prepare to puncture the rare, but it already died from the burn. Pretty funny stuff. So there's the boss. Oh, this rare died pretty quickly. The boss is already at half life, and there is the boss dead. I can't even talk so fast as stuff dies. Yeah, so really, really good stuff. Things that can hurt the build is actually so let's do the dangerous stuff. Let's talk about the dangerous stuff. So there's elemental reflect. For this, no problem. You just pop the Jade Flask. Currently, my evasion rating is 11,000 with 50% chance to evade. If I pop that, it goes up to 26k, 66% chance to evade, and that's good enough for elemental reflect. Physical reflect, if you just have a reflect pack, it's also not a problem. You just puncture the rare, it dies, and then you can deal with the rest of them. But what do you do in the physical reflect map? Well, there you basically exchange LMP with GMP, because this lowers your damage. So we go down to 2.8 from 4k. Then you switch out added fire with life gain on hit. I'm leveling 1 in my weapon slot. And you take out increased critical damage. And this brings your damage down to, like, I don't know, 10k. And with keeping up your Jade Flask, which you do with Surgeons, because every time you crit it fills up, then it's pretty okay-ish versus Reflect. If it gets too crazy, you can remove Assassin's Mark, and this is what the additional socket here is for, and then put in poacher's mark, so we have more life gain on hit in the reflect scenario. Half regions, absolutely no problem whatsoever. This character uses the Revelry keystone, so you get mana on hit and also mana on kill, so regen, not a problem. Then life is pretty much the same. You can't leech life anyway because of the Infractem bow, so you can only get stuff from a life gain on hit. So if the half regen map is too hard, then again just swap out Added Fire with life gain on hit and you're good. I've not done no regen and blood magic maps yet, so that's stuff to figure out how this works. I guess no regen, I would just try it, and for blood magic I don't know, maybe it works by turning off Grace and Herald of Ice and then just running Herald of Ash on life and then try to survive, but I guess it will be pretty slow. In terms of arch enemies, so what can really kill you, it's basically just the evangelists that do those storm call thingies with physical damage, because they cast them really quickly and they stun you and you cannot evade this. This character has phase acrobatics, so you have 30% chance to avoid this by dodging, but if you have like 3 or 4 evangelists and they're casting those spells all the time, you will get hit pretty often, and this is why Ziggy in hardcore uses a lightning coil. And then you have those EK characters. So there's a new Exile that uses EK totems, and there are the guards from some of the regime missions, and they use EK too, and this is again also dangerous because it's a spell. Other than that, last thing to talk about, maybe the passive tree and how I leveled. So this is the passive tree over here. Here on the left you can see what the most beneficial stats of this character are. So we have a lot of attack speed, crit chance, crit damage. We have 23% movement speed just from the tree. It's awesome to be so mobile. A lot of physical damage, projectile damage, 152% increased maximum life. One may argue that's way too much for a softcore character, but I like it this way. I didn't die on this character after dying 2 times to Vegan, and once in normal versus the lightning trap guy in Scepter of God. That was really dumb, but after that I never died, and I like it. So it's maybe hardcore viable, this thing. And mana gain on kill, mana gain on hit. And as for the skill tree, you start as a ranger, get the evasion, get finesse and primal spirit to help you with the mana early on. Then you get this stuff, gives you really good damage. Travel down through the attack and movement speed to get more life and intelligence. Intelligence is a thing that's very hard to get from this character. And then you travel down to Revelry and your mana problems are solved forever. Then you go to the right, pick on the Guile, travel a long way up to the Shadow to get quickness, more physical damage, more movement speed. You get projectile damage, you get coordination for attack speed and dex. You go through the life and get elemental damage, crit chance. And then you pick up acrobatics, phase acrobatics, and your defenses are in a pretty good shape for cruel. There's more life to pick up over here, and then you go to the left to pick up more life here. Go through the evasion wheel to pick up more life here, and Harrier, which gives you more attack and movement speed. Then you go to the left through the Sentinel, notable for resistances and evasion, to grab all the life over here, and fantastic physical damage node. And then what's left, you start improving your crit. So there's King of the Hill, that gives you a lot of crit chance and knockback on critical strike. It's a really good survivability thing, and it also helps with your puncture, because the punctured mobs, if they get knocked back, it counts as movements, and things die even quicker. You get lethality and deadly draw, really good clusters, lots of attack speed, physical damage, crit chance, and then the accuracy and crit chance cluster at the top, and I think that's it. And then the last thing I want to get is point blank, because it will improve my damage in higher level maps if I'm close to the mobs, and in reflect maps it will help me because I can get away from the mobs and then hit them from a distance, so the reflect damage is not that high. And this is a 104 point build, so that's level 86, and that's easily to achieve. If you want to go further, there's other stuff you can pick up. If you get a better bow and a 6 link, you can add pierce and then get the pierce nodes over here. If you get a drill neck, this will help you. If you have 100% pierce, you have automatically 100% increased damage. Then there's more physical damage to pick up here. And in the beginning I wanted to pick up this node, but actually those are a bit more point efficient, and then you can do this until level, I don't know, 95 or even 100 if you want to go for it. I will probably stop when I reach this point, and let's see how high in the maps I can go, and what else I can achieve with this character. So finally, let's talk about Tooltip DPS and why it doesn't say basically anything, and the difference between LMP and GMP. And for that, let me bring up a small spreadsheet over here. So I basically took the damage values from the character sheet, so that's the low end and that's the high end damage with 3 damage types I do, physical, fire, cold, and average them out. And if I combine that, I do 1.5k damage per arrow. If I crit, that's basically my crit multi, that's 5.5, and with Assassin's Mark on top of them, which is a more multiplier, I end up with 7.5k damage per arrow. And as I said before, if you're using LMP, then most likely 2 or even 3 arrows will hit, maybe 4. And if we go to the high-end damage, then you see how crazy this is if you fire into a back and into a pack if you crit. So awesome. And with GMP, it looks like this. So for reflect situations, that's actually a consideration to use that because the damage is quite lower. As I said, I'm not sure if 5 arrows can hit an enemy. If they do, still the damage wouldn't be as high as the LMP variant. So, and that basically concludes my little introduction into my variant of the build. Let me know if you have any questions, any suggestions, if you want to see something else from this character, or if you want to see something else in general for Path of Exile. Let me know in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in game.